coaches, today in our snack size video, we're going to be talking about addressing the absentee problem. You know, a long time ago, and sort of an old way of doing subs is if a teacher or a shepherd needed a sub, they would find their own sub. And that still works sometimes if you are in a small church or you have a clear list that shepherds can look at in order to call their own sub. But you know what? Sometimes that really is a barrier for shepherds in agreeing to join your team, is if they feel like every time they're sick, they're going to need to find their own sub. So what we do in our church, and what I think a lot of large churches do, is that they have a substitute coordinator who, if you call in and say, I'm not going to, or a shepherd calls in and says, I'm not going to be here this week, the sub coordinator will find a substitute for them. They have a large master list of people who have agreed to be subs, and they can just call one of those folks. How many subs should you have every week? Probably a good idea is to think about how many subs you typically need each week, plus or minus 1 or 2, and then double that amount. Because sometimes unforeseen things happen. People may have last-minute emergencies or sick children. It's always good to have more subs rather than less. So that's about how many to look for, how many you typically have, and then actually double it. So if you need 2 or 3 subs usually every week, it should be good to have like 6 as a backup for that Sunday. One other thing you might want to do is, if you've got a shepherd who's there every week but sort of really likes change and likes to shake it up a little bit, you might ask them if they would be interested in subbing every week, and they can just fill in wherever it's needed. Some people are really adaptable and they like things to be different all the time. That would be a perfect way for you to utilize someone like that and just have them sub every week. And then finally, if you have a shepherd who's chronically absent, I think it would be a great idea to give them a call. Not to, ream them out and say, where have you been, and this is so inconvenient for me, but just to see they may really have a need. I know we had one shepherd in our group over the past couple of years who kind of struggled a little bit with absenteeism, and we found out that that person was really struggling in their personal life, and we were able to refer them to a counselor, and they were able to get a little bit of help for the thing that was causing them these problems, and it worked out great. So if you have a chronically absent shepherd, they just may need a little bit of extra help and a little bit of extra love. So be sure to make sure that you contact them, after they've been gone for a while, just to say, hey, what's going on in your life? So those are some tips on dealing with absentee problems, and that is your latest tip for raising kids in Christ.